Today I logged on to my YouTube channel, and lo and behold, what do I see? Someone has asked a question about my favorite technique for ending relationships, and this called ghosting. That is my favorite, absolute favorite. I love it more than sweet potato pie favorite way to do things. So I am an expert on this particular topic, just like I am so many others, but and this is one I actually utilize. So I'm going to share my information with you ladies who don't understand why men ghost you, and you don't understand what that means, and you don't understand why they want to try to come back. I'm going to tell you. Okay, the first thing that you need to understand is what ghosting means. Now, it might be like, have a vague idea, but I'm going to just break it down for you. Ghosting is what people do when they don't give a fuck how you feel, what you think, what you want, nothing. They're thinking about themselves. And they don't want to be bothered with you anymore. That's the bottom line. So they just stop calling you. They stop returning your calls. They don't want to talk to you. If you call, you get voicemail. If you send them an email, it goes unresponded to. If you send them a text, same thing. That is called going ghost. It's like Casper the ghost. You just disappear into the woodwork, and nobody even knows that you were there. You can't be seen. You can't be heard. You are like something that is a figment of someone's imagination. They aren't even sure you were ever really there. That's what ghosting is, if done right. What some people do is they do what I call the fade out, which is another term for ghosting. You can do the fade out, fade to black, it's called sometimes. Disappearing act, it's called sometimes. You know, there's so many different terms for it, but those are some that I use frequently. But they all mean the same thing, that this person, for whatever reason they have decided to cease any and all communication with you because whatever it is that motivated them to want to move on away from you as quickly as possible cropped up, and so they just left. Okay, so that's what ghosting is. Now, the main question is what she wanted to know, and I'm sure a lot of other women out here want to know too, is why do men ghost women? Why don't they just sit down with you and tell you what's going on? Now, I talked about this in the video on closure, which I will provide a link to at the end of this one, so you can just click it and listen to that one. So I talked about some of this there, but from a slightly different angle. But bottom line there is when you are a guy, or well, in my case, well, I mean whoever. Okay, you're some person who is tired of this individual, what they talking about, or you realize it's not going to work, or they're not really your cup of tea, or whatever. You can see that this person is more into you than you are into them. So you understand that once you decide you don't want to be bothered with them anymore, there's going to be some fireworks, some tears, some yelling, and a bunch of asking you why can't we try? What did I do wrong? I'll change, all that old shit. Okay, remember what I said at the beginning. When somebody's going ghost on you, they don't care. They don't care what you think. They don't care what you feel, and they don't care what you want. They're focusing on their own needs, their own thoughts, and their own feelings in that moment. So you crying and whining and begging and pleading and grabbing on their leg and continuing to call them and beg for a second chance, that's nothing they want to hear. They don't want to be bothered. So they just go ghost. It's easier. That's the number one reason why men do it, because it's easier. It provides them an opportunity to avoid any and all of your emotional reactions, and they get out scot-free and on about their business. You still are, if you were really into them, you may be left reeling from the abandonment. For those of you who do online dating or something, you may have talked to the person on the phone and chatted with them or something. You may have even met them, and you decided that you like them, but they didn't decide that on their end, and so they don't want to be bothered with answering your questions and trying to talk to you and making up that big speech about I really think that we're on different pages, and I really don't think that we have much in common, and I really don't think this is going to work, so that you can go through all those conniptions like I said. Most people aren't their self-esteem is not high enough to handle that kind of what they perceive to be rejection, and so they get all upset. Why didn't they like me and all this old shit? And it's like you barely know the motherfucker. What the hell? I mean, why you care who they like? It's not you. So let's just move on. But trust me, if they feel like you're not right for them, that means they're not right for you either. They're just smart enough to recognize that before you do and to take action. But a lot of you focus on the wrong thing. Instead of you focusing on if this person is really right for you and if this person is really into you, you only focus on how you feel about them. And those are the people that get caught in this kind of trap, because you feel broadsided when you've been paying attention to the man's actions, the man's behavior, and his words, because there's something going to be out of sync. There's always a clue that this is not the way that you imagine it is. Even if he's misrepresenting himself, there's going to be something that's a giveaway. They can talk all kind of shit, but what does he do? You got to put both sides together, and then you wouldn't be broadsided when he went ghost on you. It would be something that you would be ready for, because you recognize what was going on in the relationship that you was trying to have or were having or whatever. Okay. So that's why men will ghost you. Okay. Now, the second part of her question was, what do you do when they come back, and why do they come back? That's a little more complicated, because there's lots of reasons why he may come back. I mean, especially because she didn't really give me any parameters in time. What, next week, next month, next year, 10 years from now? I mean, what? Come back when? Come back how? So she didn't really give me enough information there, so I kind of gloss over a couple of different points here. Number one, they come back because they just want to kind of feel you out. They pick up communication again to see if you're going to respond. They may start by sending you a text or calling you, and they're going to be asking how you were and trying to sound all solicitous and like they really give a fuck when they really don't. And they just want to see, what you got going on. Is some other dude in the picture now? Have you moved on? Are you feeling lonely and horny? Do you still miss him? If he runs some game, is it going to be an opportunity for him to slide in and tap that ass? That's what he's calling for. Okay, that's phase one. Now let's just say he went out and he really did meet a bunch of other people, and he decided that he kind of liked you and he may want to try with you again. Does that mean he wants to be your man and be committed long term? No, it does not. So don't get all excited. It just means he thinks that maybe he ended things a little bit too quickly before he really got a chance to get to know you. So he approaches, to see what you got going on from that angle. Of course, he wants some ass too, but he's really looking to see if he can get an opportunity to spend more time with you and get to know you better. Like I said, he may still turn around and dip and do the exact same thing all over again once he gets, a week or two of involvement with you under his belt. But he's asking for that opportunity. Then there are those who went out and did their thing and whatever, and then they realize, well, I really fucked up. I really should have stuck with her because she was cool and I was tripping. Now, if the guy does this and he comes back, he's going to have a different approach than the first two guys. I'm not going to say what it is going to be here, because I don't want them trying to run this game on y'all. So I'm not going to say, but his approach will be very different. It will be very sincere. It will be meaningful, and you will know what he's doing by the way he treats you. Okay, not by the way what he says, but what he does and the way he treats you. Details, I will leave that up to you. So those are the three main reasons why they will try to come back after they ghost you. Basically, if you respond in a positive way, then he'll be back in there. For how long, I can't tell you. It might just be that night. It might be that weekend, that month. I mean, there's no guarantees. But I can tell you this. The person who chooses to ghost people, that's their way of exiting relationships. So if you get involved with them again, you can bet that same routine, you're going to have that same experience. That's their preferred method of leaving people they don't want to be bothered with alone. How do I know? Because I'm exactly like that myself. I don't want to be bothered. I just seesaw communication. Like online, I just block and delete people and go on with my life. I just like I don't worry about what they're doing, and with the, who they are. No, I don't worry about all this stuff. So, in a situation where you are, you just met somebody online or went out with them a couple of times and you like them or whatever, you may even date them for a month or two or three, but the bottom line for you is when they get sick of it or they feel confused or they get scared or whatever is the trigger for their exiting stage left, once that trigger is pulled, they're going to do the same thing. So you have a decision to make. That's the kind of person that this person is. Can you accept that? Because they're not going to change. You thinking they're going to be different and you can tell them, well, next time if you don't want to be bothered with me, just tell me, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. You're wasting your breath. So what you can do, so what should you do rather? Should you give this man, Mr. Ghost, another chance? Should he have a second opportunity? My thing is this. How do I put this? Well, with me, you can't uneat something. I mean, once you chew it and swallow it, if it comes back up, it's vomit. Okay? Vomit. What is vomit? Half digested food that smells awful. Now, you might be able to recognize bits and pieces of it as whatever it was you ate. Just like when Mr. Ghost comes around, you can recognize bits and pieces of what was your relationship with him, your hopes, your dreams. They all mixed up in there somewhere. But what you generally have is a big smelly blob of nothing. And that's exactly what you're going to have when he shows his face again. Nothing. So my recommendation, unless you don't have shit else to do and you can keep your emotions in check, those are two very important caveats you need to pay attention to. Unless you can do those two things, you have no business going backwards to deal with dude. The past, in my mind, should always be left in the past. That's where it belongs. You can't move forward until you leave the past behind. You can't move forward in your journey if you keep reading the same pages of your life over and over and over again. They keep cycling back like a bad book. You just keep reading it and rereading it, trying to get the message that the book sucks, and you thinking there's some deep meaning to it, so you keep rereading it. In reality, it's garbage. It was garbage the first time you read it. It's going to be garbage the second, third, and 15th times you read it as well. Garbage don't never turn into nothing else. That's what it is, trash. So that's my assessment of this type of situation. You thinking that, you could give him another chance, that he changed, that he going to be different, which is usually all the, dragon drama they be talking. Oh, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have left you. I don't know what I was thinking. I was tripping. I got scared because you just like the woman of my dreams. And I just got scared. It was just too much for me. I just never expected I would meet you. I didn't think I was ready yet. Okay, they going to be singing all kind of songs. I mean, you put that shit to music, it'll probably make it to the top, Billboard top 10. But what does that mean? It don't mean shit. Because if he was really into you, he wouldn't have left the first time. If he was really into you and really respected you, he would have handled things differently. Again, I'm speaking from personal experience. So, the few dudes who I could tell that wasn't gonna work, but I really did admire them as people. I respected them, maybe even halfway loved them, whatever. Well, for them, we had a conversation. But I'm telling you, my initial reaction is still to just go ghost. Even I have to force myself to do it the other way. But I feel like in those situations, those particular people, I didn't want to burn bridges with, and I felt like those particular people, due to their treatment of me, they deserve that. But everybody else, they got what I gave them, and they didn't like it too fucking bad. That was my attitude. So anyway, that answers, I hope, her question about ghosting, what the definition of ghosting is, how it plays out in relationships, and also it can work the same way in friendships, acquaintances, ships or whatever, family relationships. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Any kind of interaction you have with any person and you're sick and tired of it and you don't want to make a big announcement or have to go deal with their feelings and stuff about it, ghosting is the preferred way to make it happen. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com. Talk to you guys in a couple of days. Bye bye.